everyone, thanks so much for joining me today. Today I'll be doing an advanced cold process soap making recipe called a spin swirl. Now a spin swirl utilizes a lazy Susan in order to get this really interesting design. If you've never made soap before, go ahead and stop and watch the first 4 episodes on cold process soap making right here on this channel, or go ahead and read the first few chapters of any of my 3 books on soap making. This is a really great recipe. It's really fun to do, but it's really best if you've done a few batches before you attempt it. This particular recipe is going to use the Brambleberry Birchwood divider molds, which is a fantastic mold to use for lots of reasons, but in this you'll see why. It gives plenty of play for us to keep spinning that mold to create a really interesting design. And we're also using a fragrance from the Brambleberry Adventurer collection called Bonfire. Now, Bonfire is meant to evoke the idea of, I don't know, maybe sexy cowboys around a fire. It's got some whiskey notes in it. It's got sandalwood. It's got amber. I definitely get some leather notes in there. And then one of our team members actually swears she smells a little bit of chocolate in it. Whatever it is a warm and sultry scent, and I think you're going to love it. In this recipe, it's particularly good because it doesn't accelerate trace and there's no discoloration. For this recipe, I am shortcutting a little bit of my prep. I'm gonna use the Brambleberry swirl recipe. And I created this recipe. I created it, you guys, like seriously 20 years ago. It is one of my favorite combinations of oils to work with when it comes to swirling because it gives you lots of time to work with the recipe, but also it sets up really hard and gives you really great lather. So the last thing I need to do before starting to make my soap is to, well, prep my colorants. I like to always disperse my colorants in just a little bit of lightweight oil and then use a mini mixer to mix them up really well so that way they're fully micronized, fully dispersed before you put them into your soap. But really, the last thing I gotta do is suit up for safety. So no kids in the room, no pets in the room, well-ventilated area. Make sure you have a solid 30 to 60 minutes to do this recipe so you can clean up before any littles are back in the room. Goggles are a must, as are hand protection. One last thing before I get started, I'm gonna put my mold together so that way when I have all my colors mixed and everything is ready to go, there's no waiting. So the Brambleberry Birchwood mold does not require a silicone liner. You could actually just line it with your normal kind of parchment paper or whatever you use to line your mold with, freezer paper. But I personally really like to use the silicone liner because it saves on so much prep time. So it's the Brambleberry silicone liner for the Birchwood mold. And then these are the dividers. And the dividers really fit together really easily. And when I put them in, I just kind of hold down on the sides here. So that way I can just put it in and the dividers don't end up falling out all over the place. So this is ready and I have my Lazy Susan ready as well. And now it's time to get mixing. So I'm gonna add all of my Brambleberry Quick Mix in and I've melted this in the microwave. One of the really nice things about getting the bags of Quick Mix from Brambleberry is that they are heat safe in the microwave, meaning you can put this whole bag in the microwave or in a really big boiling pot of water, and then it melts down your oils evenly and easily. So I love that feature of these little pouches. And now I'm just pouring my lye into my oils very easily and effortlessly. It has sodium lactate added to it. Sodium lactate is totally optional. It's the salt of lactic acid, and it helps to harden the recipe and it helps it release from that silicone liner a lot easier. What we're going for here is a pretty thin trace because we are gonna split this into 5 containers and I'm gonna give them a quick stick blend in the individual containers to make sure the colorant is fully mixed. So just get this barely emulsified before you split it up. And I'm gonna go ahead and eyeball this and probably do about 350 to 400 milliliters in 4 of these containers, and then do probably about 600, 650 in the last one. The reason for that is I'm gonna use that for my white, and my white in this case is my contrast color. I love using these easy pour containers from Brambleberry because of these long spouts. They really help to get so much good color and good design. They're fantastic to work with. And just with the last little bit here, I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it. I am gonna add my fragrance to each individual container rather than adding it to the entire batch. And the reason I'm doing that is just honestly, it's just like a little bit of extra precaution. This fragrance works so well, you can actually add it to the entire batch if that's the way you like to soap. When I'm mixing my colors, I kind of like to minimize the dirty dishes. So this is 1 tablespoon of fizzy yellow lemonade. And just to kind of give it a little bit more of a, well, slightly darker hue, I'm gonna do just a little bit of sunset orange in there, not much at all. And then my orange is just a straight up sunset orange mica, which is fantastic because it's color fast. It really stays very bright in the recipe, which is nice. 1 teaspoon of this fizzy lemonade and just like a couple little tiny drops of this brick red to just tone it just down just a tiny little bit. To get our dark red, we're gonna do a teaspoon of brick red and then a teaspoon of activated charcoal. And then finally we have our white, and the white is just titanium dioxide. And we're gonna do a full kind of tablespoon, and the only utensil I have left is this tiny little measuring device, so I'll be just dumping a little bit in, which is fine because the white is really just there for our contrast color. With these designs, having a really strong and bold contrast color helps a lot. Then finally, I'm gonna add fragrance to each of these and then stick blend in order of lightest to darkest. So white's gonna get stick blended first, and I'm just eyeballing the fragrance. Again, it acts so well that you can totally do that and be just fine with it. So now it's time to start working pretty fast. We're just gonna get these colors and the fragrance blended in, make sure our trace is very solid but also thin, and then it's time to pour and spin. You are gonna wanna keep some whisks on hand because one of the things I've noticed is when I'm pouring this, since I start at such a thin trace, those bonds that are holding the soap together sort of wanna break apart. And so you're gonna end up probably whisking all of this at least once during the process. So here we go. Lazy Susan right here and the mold right here. Pull those dividers out, and then the fun starts. You actually start pouring on the sides of the molds here, and you can kind of pour in any order you want, keeping in mind you have a lot more white. I tend to do like 1, 2, 3 when I'm counting, and you'll notice that the soap is a lot more fluid at this kind of earlier stage. Don't worry, it does get a lot thicker as you go along. And you're gonna keep settling the mold. And every 3rd or 4th color, you're gonna wanna do white. And so keep that in mind. Again, we have so much more white than we do of the rest of the colors. And so we're gonna do white now in all the corners. I'm also gonna start one of these kind of in the middle because that might give me a little bit better swirl in the middle as we kind of move along. And you'll notice that these are really blending beautifully together. As we get further along in this process, they blend a lot less together and they kind of end up making much more distinct circular kind of patterns. And I'm gonna not do the orange here because I'm gonna start varying my patterns just a little bit more. So that way there's more difference and more kind of color variation through the entire design. And now it's time to also do our white because we don't want to end up with too much white, because if we wait too long, we end up with too much white at the end, which then does not create the interesting pattern we want. I can see my soap is starting to get just a little bit grainy. Like I said earlier, that's exactly what I would expect to happen. So I'm just going to give this just a really quick stir with my whisk and make sure that any other soaps that I'm looking at, they're not grainy when I'm pouring them. And now it's time to put some darker color in because it's been a while since we did the dark. And so this is actually a little grainy, so I'm just going to give it a really quick whisk. But now this whisk is a single color whisk because I can't put it back in the rest. So I love the contrast between these. They're so fun. Now, when you're making this at home, you're gonna start noticing that these are starting to kind of build up in the edges. Totally normal. We're gonna give these a quick settle in just a minute. So give me just a minute and we'll just give these a quick settle and you'll see kind of where we're going with this. So quick settle like this. See that? The leveling out really helps a lot. So what color do I wanna use next that I haven't used for a while? Red, such a bright, happy red color. Ooh, there we go. And I think at this point, I'm gonna kind of quit with my middle, we'll see. And the further along you get in this process, the more kind of jiggling you're doing to keep these colors really staying fluid. And make sure not to forget or neglect that white. My white is still really beautiful, given that I just gave it a nice whisking. This is a kind of similar concept to the Taiwan swirl. If you've ever done the Taiwan swirl, it's kind of the same concept, but in like a 5-pound mold as opposed to this long and flat mold, but same concept. And those are really fun as well to do. I see my yellow starting, or my orange is starting to come apart just a little, so I'm gonna give it a really quick whisk. Make sure it stays fluid. And my brown is still gorgeous. Really provides some nice contrast. Now it's time for some white. And now it's time to also start working pretty fast because we want to make sure that we have enough soap to be fluid so the spin swirl really works when it's time to go. Because the spin swirl requires the soap to be fluid enough to actually kind of, well, spin and swirl around the soap mold. And last color, we're just gonna do a little bit of our brown here and just a little bit of brown in this corner. And then, ooh, we're done. A little bit of white over here. And now it is time to swirl. So to swirl, okay, gloves on, really be firm here. Do this, you catch it. This, you catch it. The goal is to create fluidity and movement. And the middle always looks a little different. Don't worry. It's always beautiful, doesn't matter how you go here. And knowing when to stop is always really hard. Oh my goodness, it's so hard to know when to stop. Like, I should probably stop now, but I really want the middle to get a little bit more. So I'm just switching directions to give a little bit more interest in this swirl, kind of give it a little bit more. The ends here are getting just a little bit blurry, so I am gonna need to stop pretty soon, but it is addicting. Just like regular kind of linear swirling or traditional swirling, you just keep wanting to play with this medium. Soap is this beautiful consumable art form. It's one of the reasons I think I've been making soap since I was 14. And I think that's one of the reasons why, because it's kind of a never-ending consumable art form. I just love it. So I'm gonna call this good. It is tough because I see this big white thing over here and I really want to solve for that. Not going to, because I know exactly what's going to happen when I put the dividers in. They're going to drag that swirl down and that white streak will be no more. So dividers in, push down gently. That looks so good. And I'm gonna spray with the 99% rubbing alcohol. And you know, it's getting pretty hot here in the studios at Brambleberry. And so technically I probably don't need to put this on a heating blanket to force gel phase, which will give it a brighter color. It'll make it shinier and harder to, like the bars will be harder. But I am gonna toss it onto a heat pad just for probably 30 minutes total, because I do want to force gel phase through the whole thing. So I'm spraying with my 99% rubbing alcohol, and all that does is do a little tiny barrier between the soap and the air, which helps to prevent soda ash. And only 99% rubbing alcohol works for that. Regular kind of 91% rubbing alcohol does not work for that. And you know, one more thing, the reason I'm putting this on a heat pad to force that gel is because it also helps the dividers to slide out more easily. Because the harder the bars of soap and the kind of shinier and smoother the bars of soap, the easier it is for those dividers to come out. This birchwood mold has a lid to it, so it's almost a self-insulating thing. And then also, if you're doing this in batches of, say, 5 of these in a row, like say you have just lots of batches, you can just stack them up too, which is really great. So this is how the recipe turned out. I think it turned out amazingly. And I made this a few days ago and it's ready to pop out. So in order to release the soap from the mold evenly, you want to make sure that it's coming off the silicone really easily. If it starts to tear, you want to give it another few days. So gently pull this out, and the soap is it's a little soft, but it's not too bad. You can see it's releasing already, which is great. So gently put everything down, and here we go. Step 1 is done. So releasing from the divider molds takes just a little bit of patience. You can either release the bars individually, or you can try to pull up on the dividers. And so like if you pull up on the dividers, sometimes the soap just comes with it. If that happens, do not pull the soap, slide the soap. Because if you pull the soap, you will tear the soap. So here we go. And these are looking gorgeous. So just keep sliding those dividers, and the soap is just falling out, which is wonderful. That is partially because of the sodium lactate. That sodium lactate really helps to make a hard, smooth, shiny bar. Look at how gorgeous these are. The drag marks are really part of the design, but I am going to show you what this looks like if you choose not to use the dividers. Now, if you choose not to use the dividers, you'll end up with a design on the side that looks a lot more kind of fine and is the actual, like when you are pouring the soap in, it's the layers and the swirls and all of that, as opposed to having dividers drag down the swirls. They're both gorgeous looks, absolutely fantastic and perfect no matter what you do, but those are kind of your two options. Letting the dividers drag down those gorgeous swirls, or leaving the dividers out and letting the soap make the design. Now with this, obviously I've used a scraper to scrape the top off of this and make sure that this looks really pretty on top like that too. So that's another tip. If you don't use the dividers, be sure to kind of scrape that top off to really reveal the gorgeous design. One more call out, if you use dividers, what you'll notice is that the bars are actually just a little bit taller. And that's because the dividers push the entire batch up because they're displacing some of the liquid soap. So if you liked this video, be sure and give it a thumbs up below. And of course, subscribe to our channel if you're not already subscribed. And when you make this amazing, awesome spin swirl project, be sure and hashtag it BrambleOn so we can see what you are creating. Until next time, everyone, happy soaping.